Okay, so we have here burnt umber and titanium buff. I'm going to put a very small amount of black, and really small, like I'm picking the black with the tip of my brush. I'm using a round brush, and I'm going to do people. Now, if we don't like the color and it dries too dark, then we can glaze all this. We glaze it with a lighter color. So it's no problem here. I'm not worried about what I'm getting here. I'm gonna try to do it, to do my, to paint my brush stroke up and down. It just gives that elongated kind of silhouette form. So
Leah, did you add black?
a touch, very small amount of black. Yes, I did add black. So it's the brush stroke is up and down. Hi, Karen.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good.
We just started, so this is burnt umber and a bit of titanium buff and a small amount of black, any black you have.
What happens if you don't have titanium buff? Can you use titanium white?
Yeah, actually, yes, you can use titanium white.
Oh.
Use a bit of it, like, because mixing titanium white with burnt umber is going to give you kind of a close to titanium buff. It's not the same, but it's very close. Oh, I like that. I wasn't sure how it's going to look, but I like it actually. So burnt umber, titanium buff, and a touch of bit of black in here, and water down my color a bit so it's not too thick. So let's see. Oh, see, like next to his face, I'm going to darken tiny bit. Yeah, that's better. It's going to dry darker. I left a gap in between on purpose. There is a gap in the reference, in the background between the people, but I like this gap. It gives, it's not too crowded.
Yeah.
That's good. So for the flowers, I'm picking up a bit of alizarin crimson, and I'm going to put it here. Yeah, I think that's a round brush. So we're going to just go with the suggestion of flowers. We're not going to paint real flowers.
So that's just alizarin crimson?
Yes, alizarin crimson for now. I think we might need to darken this alizarin crimson a bit in certain areas to give depth, because right now, if you looking at this crimson, it looks a bit flat because crimson is transparent. It's not an opaque color. So when you put it on a light surface, you really don't see any kind of overlapping pattern or movement in there. It's just flat. So if I want to get a bit of depth in here, so you see some flowers are in, some are out. Raw umber to my alizarin crimson, just a bit of raw umber. And then just go in certain areas, especially over down here. That would be quite a little bit darker than the rest. Okay. And switch to a round brush, but smaller. And I'm just going to pick up cadmium red light. Mix it a bit with my alizarin. Now this is still wet now. I'm going to try to highlight a bit.
And you said add raw umber to darken?
Yeah, I just put a bit of raw umber in there.
Okay.
With my alizarin crimson to darken it. Okay. I think this area here is a bit too flat.
Password.
Password for what?
That's okay.
My logging in.
Which one?
Right here. I was getting a bit of a dark, a bit of a flat area. I think that's good. Okay. Again. Okay. All right, I think it's enough. What I'm going to do now is, since I have this nice red, I'm just going to take a small brush, round, take some of that red, which could be a combination of alizarin and cadmium red light. And oh, I need my reading glasses. I can't see. Just a bit of lipstick. Now this red will tie in with the red in the back. It was just repeating this red, which is in the background, in the front, in the foreground. I personally would be tempted to do her belt the same in red. Let's try. If you don't like it, we can remove it. So this is again alizarin crimson with a bit of raw umber.
How do you know Coco? How do you know Coco and not the other one? How do you know Coco?
So now I'm taking a bit more of the raw umber with my alizarin crimson. Actually, this is an alizarin crimson mixed with cadmium red light, and I'm adding a bit of burnt umber to it.
Burnt or raw?
Pardon?
Burnt or raw?
Raw. I'm just going to pick up now some cadmium red light. That's not enough. Okay, let's put some more cadmium red. Oh, it's right here. Cadmium red light. And I'm just going to go over part of her buckle and a bit in here. This is cadmium red light on my brush. I'm keeping part of this belt dark right here and dark inside here and a bit right there. This part, that part. So this part is the darkest one because that's really tucked in. Then it's the buckle and the belt starts catching a bit of light in here. And then this is highlighted right there. Why is it? Okay, it needs to be adjusted. It looks crooked. Right, so I'll adjust it a bit more once I start putting the color of the skirt. So right now we have a nice triangle. We have a triangle, we have the flowers, we have the lipstick, the belt. There's a nice triangle in the back in here. I'm going to use burnt umber and a bit of black in my burnt umber using a round brush. And I'm just going to put faint kind of movement for the paper flowers here, just because the flowers are very strong. So I'm just creating some kind of a movement around them because this paper looks right now a bit too flat and the flowers are heavy.
So what colors again? Black and burnt umber or brown?
Yeah, burnt umber,
Burnt umber.
and a bit of black in there. The color I'm using, the paint is more like a glaze. It's not heavy. Okay, so for the skirt, I'm using cobalt turquoise with a bit of raw umber for now. And other colors, teal will work. Phthalo blue and black, right, Christine? Phthalo blue and black.
Yes.
And that would work too. That's a beautiful color. And then we add you add white to it because phthalo blue and black are dark, very dark colors. So using a bit of white with it will give it a really nice color. Will make it a really nice shade of blue. So now when we're doing this, we just have to make sure that we don't lose her beautiful kind of shape. Now, the reason I added raw umber, just because I need to highlight after. I want to add the white. And if I'm using just one color, which is the turquoise, cobalt turquoise alone, with a bit of raw umber in there, it's hard to highlight. Raw umber, this cobalt turquoise is not dark enough. So if you're using teal, you might need to put a bit of raw umber in it. Because this is like a shade, the dark part. Okay, I need to turn this around. Right there. Okay. Now, I take white, mix it in that same mixture I'm using. Teal, I mean cobalt turquoise and raw umber. And now I'm gonna try to start highlighting a bit certain areas. I'll start with this part. Now this skirt is kind of right now, the paint is kind of wet. Change my brush because the brush I'm using is too wide. Ah, that's better. Now the paint is lifting a bit because it's wet. So I'm going with, I'm highlighting slowly. Now this is not a highlight I'm adding right now. This is just back to the color that I've been using before, which is the cobalt turquoise and raw umber. I'm just gonna go in, put another layer. Oh, it's wet. It needs another layer because I can see the canvas. Okay. All right, I'm gonna add white. When I add white, I add a bit of white, not much. I don't go crazy with white because white is, if it takes over, it's hard to get rid of easily. Okay. Now there are too many movement of fabric in here. So I'm just going to simplify it a bit. The paint is still wet, so it's just giving me a bit of a hard time right now. It's lifting. some pigments are not easy to work with. And especially the pigments that are transparent. This is not a transparent pigment, but this color here is not an easy color to work with. Okay, I have to stop. It's lifting. No, all right. I have to stop for a minute. So while the skirt is drying, I'm using the same color for the skirt. Whatever you're using, just add a bit of more raw umber or black, just to make it the same color, but a bit darker. Yeah, this color doesn't, it's not easy to use on canvas, because I can see that when I'm putting the color, it's not spreading well the way it should. I'm going to put the first layer. Okay. Mhm. The detail of the shoe in the back is not clear in the reference, so just have to improvise a bit. Oh, oh. This is a weak pigment. All right, this is good enough. Let's put another layer. I'm just trying to clean up a bit. Okay. All right, so let's give this these shoes a bit of a highlight. So I'm using the same color, the original color of the shoe. I'm just putting a tiny bit of, I put a bit of white in it. I'm trying to darken this side. I want to put a highlight, but I don't want to highlight it too like a strong highlight. Just a very thin line to show shiny kind of. I know in the reference it looks like a V. If we put it here, we put the same, that V, the same way, which I tried before. Now it didn't work. Take a bit more white with my blue, white and blue, and I'm just going to put a bit of white over here, over the blue. I think that's okay. Now the purse, just keep it simple. I'm going to take more of the burnt umber, put it in the same color, and darken this area here. Make this part darker, if possible. If it's not dark enough, I can add a bit of black. Now, same. I'm going to take the same color I'm using, which is the cobalt turquoise, burnt umber, and a bit of white. Let's see if I can fix this part. It looks like there's a rip in her skirt. All right. I guess one more layer of cobalt turquoise and raw umber. Okay, that's better. And bring some white in, lighter blue. It's not what you're seeing on the monitor. It's the color is not like this in here. On the monitor, it looks really harsh and strong. Too light on the monitor. It's not like this. What I'm trying to do actually is try to figure out how to use this color. Sometimes some colors you need to a bit more water, some colors less water. And the more the color is unusual, the harder to work with, usually. Like I find quinacridins really hard to work with because they're sticky. They're not, because they're transparent. It's very strange. The color that you're seeing on the monitor is not what's in here, like the strong highlight. It's not like that here. When I when I scan it and email it to you, you'll see. I'm highlighting a bit over here. So those these movements of the fabric, they don't look like they're just disconnected. If you highlight a bit this part, they will connect with it. Do we know what this noise is?
Sorry, that's my phone. I apologize.
Oh, okay. No, I thought it was I thought it was Zoom trying to tell me something.
No, I apologize. That's
No, no problem. I thought they were trying to tell me that, you know, you're no more recording, like stop
Yeah.
recording because there's no more. Okay. I'm trying to get some soft blending here. The color I'm using is gooey. That's the consistency of that color. It's gooey. Some blending in here with the highlight right there. Okay, I think that's enough. So the hat is cadmium red light with a bit of raw umber and white. What I'm doing is I'm using less white on the left side, right side. Because this is, I think it's more in the shade, in the shadow area right here. The hat in the reference is very delicate. It's almost kind of a transparent kind of color. Now I'm adding a bit more white on this side. The white is not that strong on the canvas here. Okay, so I'm going to repeat the same, the top part. go back to the blue, same blue of the skirt. And I'm going to put a trim or a rim. There. Okay, I think I saw something here that needs to be adjusted. The hat is going over her head, her hair this way. And it is transparent. So now it looks like her hair is showing underneath, the same kind of transparency. Good. Okay. There's one last detail. I'm just going to need black and white. I'm mixing a gray, medium tone, right here. It doesn't have to look perfect. Now I'm going to take a bit more white. I'm going to add a bit more white to my color, to my gray. And I'm going to start highlighting just the, oh, that's too much white. I'm going to start highlighting the top part. And now I'm going to take a bit more white again and put kind of dots. Now, if I need to adjust this, I would adjust it with the black if it needs to be. Okay. I'll let it dry and see how dark it's going to be. And then if it needs adjustment or if it needs more white, then I'll adjust it, but it needs to dry right now. All right. One more thing to go and then we're done. The leash. Now, if you look at the reference, the actual leash is kind of interesting because it wraps around her her hand. There. I can, from the leash, if you're looking at the reference, from this movement, I can almost see her fingers. I think there's one right here, like that, like this. This is how she's holding this part up. Awesome. It's really interesting. Okay, now let's take this straight down. This leash has to be done with a ruler. And most probably I would use, it's important to have it a bit tight, strong, like straight. I would probably use watercolor pencils. Good.